welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies. Now before we really get into this video, my apologies. This video was supposed to be out last week, but here's the thing. I filmed it. I filmed the whole video. It took me about half an hour to make this 10-minute video. I think it was 15 minutes actually. And what happened is I go to edit the next day and I find out I never hit record. I swear, I never hit record. So, and then it was very close to when I was supposed to upload this video. So I decided to put this video on the back burner. And I gave you guys two X-Wing unboxings last week. Because my Falcon X-Wing unboxing was supposed to be in today's video. Welcome to Dylan's Little Hobbies. And in today's video, I am going to be reviewing Steins Gate somewhat. I'm not going to really go into the whole plot of the show. The reason why is because when I do these My Thought videos, I want to get you guys to hopefully be interested in the show and hopefully get you guys to perhaps watch the show. So, time travel. Time travel, time travel, time travel. It can be the greatest thing in fiction. And if you do it wrong, it can just ruin, and I mean absolutely ruin, a series. I'm not kidding about that. But for the sake of this video, I can tell you what. My favorite thing in all of fiction is time travel. In fact, I don't let a lot of people on the internet know this about me, but I'm a little bit of a nerd. Really, I'm a little bit of a nerd. I studied the Big Bang Theory. I, of course, know string theory. And time travel is one of the most fascinating things to me in all of so-called science fiction. I say so-called science fiction because we might actually be able to do it soon enough. Just you wait. In a couple decades or so, we'll probably have the technology. Technology is growing hilariously fast, and it comes down to this show, Steins Gate. I'm a huge time travel fan, and I'm going to, in this video, open my little nerdy book a little bit and show you guys how much of a nerd I am for this kind of stuff, because this show is all about time travel. Now, what is the show about? It's about this scientist, this absolute nerd of a guy. I absolutely love the main character of the series. His name is Okuba, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, okay? I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but Okuba is such a fantastic character in my book. You know who he reminds me of a lot of? And people are probably going to get mad at me for this, but have you ever watched a little show called Phineas and Ferb? Have you ever seen Dr. Doofenshmirtz? That's basically Okuba on steroids. He's the Japanese animated version of Dr. D from Phineas and Ferb. He wants to be an evil scientist. He's always talking in these very large and scientific words that I am convinced that half the time he doesn't even know what he's talking about. I mean, it's just a very fun show. I really did enjoy the character of Okuba. And what he does is, well, in the beginning of the show, he and his best friend, a little girl that he's been with since childhood, they're at apparently another scientist show, trying to mock his history on science, and time travel because he believes in it. He believes in time travel, but he's not trying to create time travel. He's not trying to find and bend the realities of science and change the history of it or anything like that. All he's trying to do really is have a couple of good friends and try to rule the world. Apparently that's his thing, is trying to rule the world when he can't even make really anything work. He's Dr. D. He's Dr. D, basically. I absolutely love that about the character of Okuba. What happens though is he accidentally finds a girl who has been stabbed to death. He calls up his other friend, which his name is Hashida Iruta. I'm on Google. I'm not kidding. These names are very hard for me to pronounce. Iruta Hashida. I am probably pronouncing that wrong. All he is really is he's the hacker of the group. He's the guy always on the computer. And I like that. I like the fact that we got the guy on the computer, the scientist guy, and the cute little girl who really is just there for support. Likes to mess up a couple things. She kind of reminds me of, and I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for this too, she kind of reminds me of Dexter's sister, Dee Dee. Except a whole lot more grown up and a whole lot less annoying. But the reason why she reminds me of it is because she really doesn't know any science. She just happens to be friends with the evil scientist. And I found her backstory along with Okuba's backstory very, very interesting. And that's something I am going to talk about in a minute. The science of Steins Gate. The fact is, he calls up his friend, and his phone is connected to a microwave, which, through the power of bananas and microwaves, they end up creating time travel. I'm not kidding. The microwave is a time machine. That was really, really funny, but the science is actually there, and something that I love about the show is how they actually show the science. They do show the graphs and the numbers and all that, but they don't make it boring. They actually kind of re-innovate science for me, really. It's not just math, here's your answer. They actually explain it very well. That's something that I really like about the show, is that while this is, of course, theoretical science, the way they put it together is very, very well. It's very, very understandable. Even if you are just a guy who knew nothing about time travel or science history or science theoretical problems like they're dealing with, you should be able to at least follow it very well, and that's something I like. They of course, they do a very, very fantastic job at telling you exactly what the science is. Now, something else that I really like about time travel is, of course, the time travel itself, but if you use it the wrong way, it can be the worst thing you can ever write. The fact is, in Steins Gate is probably one of the only 3 shows I know of, 3 movies, 3 books, whatever you want to call it. It is one of the only 3 pieces of time travel literature that I have ever seen that actually does time travel right, that actually understands how to properly do time travel. And what do I mean by that? Let me give you a couple examples. Let's go to Dragon Ball Z, shall we? So, the fact is, in Dragon Ball, of all things, we have time travel. We have Trunks from the future. He comes from the future to save Goku's butt from dying from a heart attack. Or, it wasn't a heart attack, it was a heart virus, but you guys know what I mean. And then the time travel splits up into branches of time, of course. And I like how this show explains that very well. But then you have this thing where Trunks can go back into the other universe, and that's not how it works. You can't jump from one timeline to the other. When you do that, you're not jumping through time, you're jumping through universes, which Okuba in this whole scenario in Steins Gate it actually explains very, very well, and that's something that I like. The fact is, when you jump in time, you're jumping, let's go ahead and talk about the grandfather paradox, okay? The grandfather paradox, what does that mean? If I go back in time and kill my grandfather, do I disappear because I was never born? That's the question. The answer is no! There is no such thing as paradoxes in time travel. And if you watch the show, a lot of people will say, well, the entire show is a paradox. It's not. If you actually watch how this show was explained, they explained time travel very, very well. And there's no such thing as paradoxes. There's no such thing as paradoxes. Ever. The fact is, if I go back and kill my grandfather, that means I can start a whole new branch where my grandfather died, but I lived and went on. You know, it starts a whole new branch. And if I wanted to go back to my other time, I could hit a time travel and go back the other way and stop myself from killing my grandfather and all that. Or I could jump universes. I could jump timelines. Basically, every time you create a new timeline, you basically create another universe. Again, I told you guys I'm a complete nerd for this stuff, and the way the time travel is set in Steins Gate, the way they explained it, I think it's the perfect way and the most understandable way for anyone to understand time travel. If you just want to understand how time travel is supposed to work, watch Steins Gate, and you will understand everything if you pay attention. That's something that I really, really liked. But you know what? While the show is definitely a time travel story, what it has really going for it is not the time travel story. However, I also do like the fact that, unlike with so many shows, time travel, they introduce time travel, they introduce the laws of time travel, and then they break their own reality for the sake of the show. I hate it when shows do that. Dragon Ball does that, and a whole bunch of other shows do that, especially Dragon Ball Super. I hated Dragon Ball Super's Trunks arc. That was just terrible. Trunks should have never been able to remember any of that. He's not jumping through time there. He's jumping through universal space, and not universe as in the multiverse. He's jumping through time universe space, which it's completely something different. It just drives me crazy. I absolutely hate Dragon Ball Super timeline for that. But as for most stories, they break what they have built for the sake of the story. I am happy to say that Steins Gate does not break its own logic at all. And the story that they are able to create out of it is fantastic. Amazing. What the story really has going for it is not the time travel, not the science, although we've already said how great that stuff is. It is the characters. Every single character that is important to the plot of the story gets very fleshed out and very just understood. I absolutely ended up loving each of these characters by the end of the story. And for such a short story, it's only like, 12, 13 episodes? They tell a fantastic story and really make you feel for these characters. Like, Sheena, just to give you a little bit of a backstory on Okuba and Sheena, because I told you I would. Sheena, her grandmother passed away, and when she was down and about to give up on life, Okuba came up and said, "No, you're my hostage. I'm an evil scientist. You can't go. You're my best friend." And Sheena says, okay, and ever since then, she's been Okuba's hostage, and that's how Okuba really started the evil scientist gig. I love it. And of course, there's the character of Kushina Makis. I can't pronounce any of these names at all. I'll show you pictures here. But the way they built the whole story around her, finding out how she ended up alive, and how Okuba pretty much ended up saving her without her knowing it. It's just a fantastic story. Something I was not expecting was the story of Aman, who, Amini, Suzo, I'm butchering these names very, very badly. My apologies, but her being a character from the future was interesting, and the rest of the show, I mean, I can go on and on and on. Every single character important to the plot gets fleshed out beautifully, and it creates this amazing, fantastic story. It's all about this character of Okuba, a so-called evil scientist who really doesn't know what he's talking about, ends up creating time travel, and because of that, he puts his friends in danger, and he eventually has to decide what to save, either the future of science or his friends. And I absolutely 100% love Steins Gate, and I 100% recommend you to watch it. Not because of the science, not because of the time travel and the lines and the signs of all of it. It is because of the characters. The character development. This is a great example of how you can do time travel and still tell a fantastic story. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know, are you going to watch Steins Gate now? I am out. Bye.